Now, back to your friends, Don and Gino.
Well, we thank you for being part of our lives every Thursday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m., our favorite 2 hours a week to spend it with you, educating you and informing you what's really happening in the real estate and financial markets today. Not old news, not hyped up news, not news that basically somebody's paying for, but the real news that makes you really educated and helps you make educated decisions in your life, and that's what our goal is. And we can give you more information also. We got a new site up with the best resources in the nation right here in Santa Clarita on aprgi.com, aprgi.com. And we're evidently going to have music throughout our whole segment. How about that in the background?
Hey, you know what? There's nothing wrong with a little music.
Thank you, Peter.
The boys heard us, yeah. In fact, I welcome you to join us at donandgino.com. Go to watch and listen live, and it's actually a great place to join us. It's a great place to go to our Facebook page. As Don says, we like to be liked, so please go to our Facebook page where we can reach you every day of the week rather than just Thursdays from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. And my favorite is the YouTube channel. Absolutely 100% the best resource we have so that you can watch 3.5 years worth of shows. Just use the search function to find the topic you're interested in, and voila, information at your fingertips.
All right, so we want to get back to our incredible guest. We're very excited about having Elliot Eisenberg, nationally acclaimed economist and speaker specializing in making the minutia of economics understandable and fun. And that's hard to do, right, Elliot?
Thankfully it is. Otherwise, I wouldn't have a living.
Hey, Elliot, I have to throw a little shout out to you because you got cut off last time. I was kind of picking on you because being a former Syracuse University alum, how about those Kings?
I'm still the Kings. They won the Stanley Cup.
Oh, you are an economist, huh? That's funny. Well, we know you keep your nose to the grindstone and in the books and paying attention to economics, obviously, on our behalf.
Regrettably, I do. But it's fun. There's so much stuff. It's changing all the time. It's never the same. It's never the same. It's never dull. That's why I love it. And thank you. You guys do a great job, too. You provide a great service to your listeners. You really do, giving them unvarnished facts. and truth.
That's a good way to put it. I appreciate it. And that's why we have you on this show, because you're great at just put it like it is, but in a little bit more simplistic terms. I'm sorry, but a lot of your compatriots like to make themselves sound so like smart, and everybody goes, huh? But you're really good about
saying... Well, what's that joke? People, when an economist comes, you know they're coming because their ego comes half an hour before they appear.
Well, thank you for making it fun, Elliot, and thank you for helping our listeners understand what's really happening today. And I love that we're very much in alignment with your opinions, because you study a lot of the same stuff we do. And I was teeing up before our break about the fact that the stimulus program, which is called quantitative easing, we had 3 versions of this: quantitative easing 1, 2, and now 3 is about, we're feeling it's going to end probably in October. You probably agree?
Yep, end of October, yep.
Okay, so at the end of the last 2 quantitative easings, we had a correction in the stock market. So I'd love your opinion on what you think might happen with the end of QE3.
We even had a correction when they thought about reducing QE3 last June or May, when Bernanke said, maybe we'll start in the fall. And that was like a bolt from the sky, and interest rates jumped up 100, 110 basis points in about a month. Yeah, I'm very funny. So we had a number of these falls. And even Janet Yellen about 2 months ago, when she said, 6 months after we end QE3, we'll start raising rates, that caused another mini bump. So I think the Fed's really learned their lesson here, and they're trying very hard. The problem is they themselves don't know when they're going to start raising short-term rates. They've agreed on when to end QE3, end of October. Last meeting, the meeting in October is 28th and 29th. On the 29th, the press release will say they've ended with a $15 billion cut to zero, we're done. But there's tremendous uncertainty as to when to start raising rates. Some of the Fed members want to raise them in pretty early 15, and some want to raise them as late as early 16. So they're going to have to wait and see, and they're trying to tell us, they're trying to tell the market, guys, so we don't know what we're going to do. We're not sure when we're going to do it. So I don't want you, this is the Fed speaking, I don't want you, the market, to expect anything for certain. Things are in flux. Things are going to vary. We don't know how fast we're going to do it. when they do it, I don't think they're going to start very aggressively. I think they're going to say, look, right now the bounds of the Fed funds rate are between 0 and 0.25%. They may bump that up to 0.25 and keep it at the upper end for a while. And then 2 meetings later, they may bump it up to 0.5. So it'll be a slow process. And what I also can be pretty sure about is that when they get to the final rate increase at the end, it's not going to be 4%. They're not going to drive rates that high because the economy is just not growing that fast. We're not in a high population, lots of immigrants moving in, huge labor productivity. And as such, we're not going to have a booming economy. So if they get to 3 or 3.25% at the end, whenever it is, 2 years from now or 3 years from now or 4 years from now, that's as high as it goes, not 4, which is where it was essentially where their position of rest was before the whole QE enterprise years and years ago. But they don't know. So I'm saying to people out there, don't go out and buy a bunch of long-term bonds thinking we're going to be safe until June or July next year. Could be, but it could be March, it could be September. They don't know.
With tips and nuggets of wisdom from Elliot Eisenberg, Ph.D., nationally acclaimed economist, right here with you on the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show. And Elliot, one question for you, and something that I think people don't realize is that when the Fed does decide to raise rates, that means we're doing well. That's a good thing. Raising rates is a good thing because that means the economy is performing. Don't you think?
Absolutely. You're right. Yes, the interest rates are kind of like a thermometer. And, if low rates in and of themselves were a good thing, now new homes would be flying off the shelf, refi would be going crazy, everything would be fantastic. The reason rates are low is because the economy is really in the ground right now. We're not in the ground. We're getting out of it. We're digging ourselves out. But low rates are never a good thing. You want normal interest rates, 3-4%. That's normal Fed funds. That's a healthy number.
And
we're far from it. It's a sign of ill health.
Yeah, and if we have those kinds of rates, because I want to clarify, when you're talking about Fed funds rate, that does have a relationship with mortgage rates, but not a direct relationship. So that'll probably put us in where our historical interest rate average has been, somewhere in the mid-6s, maybe low 7s, something around there once we end up in a healthy economy.
Yeah, right. I don't think it'll be quite that high. 'Cause I think the Fed funds may end up at 3 or 3.25, not 4. So we may end up in the mid-6s or low 6s rather than the low 7s. But yes, absolutely, the relationship is certainly there. But we're in a slow growth economy. We're just not going to be ripping the cover off the ball like we were in the 50s and 60s and early 70s. It's just not going to happen here. Or even the early 80s when all those baby boomers were maturing and turning into 20 and 30-year-olds and entering the labor force, and there was tons of boom and excitement going on.
Well, and
it's going to slow. It'll be slower.
Yeah, and actually, give us your opinion on that because a lot of people, of course, a lot of our listeners, and including us, at times you kind of feel like you wish the economy would break out and boom, but being a little bit older and wiser now and seeing what happens to major booms because what goes up must come down, I'm personally okay, and I know Gino feels this way too. We've talked about it a lot. I'm okay with a slow growth. I think it's more manageable and something that all of us can adhere to as opposed to a big boom and then what's going to happen.
Yeah, sure, I'm happy with getting, but I'd like to see, all else equal, I'd love to see 3.5% GDP growth. That would be just a great thing. It really would. It would help a standard of living grow faster. If per capita GDP growth could be faster, that would be a lovely thing. And the only way we get that is through productivity increases, making more widgets or TV sets or whatever it is. And companies haven't been investing. The labor force, we're getting older. A lot of our skilled workers are retiring. We're not having a lot of immigration. So we're going to be stuck in this lower growth, which is not bad, but it's not as much fun as a faster growth economy. Let's put it that way. Nothing wrong with it, but not as much fun.
Yeah, definitely less boats, less RVs, less toys. But one of the things even though with the slow growth, which is what I think we're going to experience, part of that is technology. I mean, technology forms a big part with us having a slower growth because there's not that much. It feels like it makes us more productive, but it really doesn't because there's less items and less items to produce that we used to use a lot more tools to do the same job than we do today.
Tell the travel agents that, or the real estate agents, or whoever it is. Absolutely, there's it's sea changes in entire industries. And I'm optimistic, and economists argue about this. There are some economists who think that the best is behind us and we're never going to grow fast again, and it's all gnashing of teeth and wringing of hands and so on. And there are other guys more like me who say, look, no, I don't think so. Every last past industrial revolution that we've had, whatever it was, energy, electricity, seed reform at Jethro Tull way back when, 500 years ago or so, 400 years ago, we figured out how to employ people and do all kinds of cool things. So I think we're going to get there again, but it may take us 5, 10, 15 more years to figure out how best to use these new technologies that are out there.
That's wise advice. Hey, Elliot, we only got a few months left in this segment. Do you have a little bit more time to hang out and talk to us about the housing market and your opinions on that?
Sure, happy to do so. Happy to do so, guys. A pleasure. Thank you.
So
always.
Fun with you, as always, with Elliot Eisenberg, chief economist across the country, right here on the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show. We'll be right back.